Electricity distribution companies, DISCOs, across the country Tuesday began the implementation of a new electricity tariff regime. Now, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC) had earlier indicated that the electricity tariff reviews will only follow service-based principles after due consultations.
At the end of our meeting back and forth, we said no increase, no increase. There is going to be increase, it will be based on our engagement at the public forum.
If the increase is a product of consultations indeed. Meanwhile, the AEDC chart suggests no increase for bands D and E customers, but the schedule shows that the tariff for band A in some cases rose to as high as 67 naira 70 kobo per kilowatt hour from about 40 naira previously, representing nearly 70% increase. Moreover, Nigerians continue to lament poor public power supply. So, what is the rationale for the increase? This is the crux of the matter on Nigeria Today. Welcome, I'm Victor Azul. Now, joining me to discuss the electricity tariff increase is Jide Ojo, a public affairs analyst. Welcome to Nigeria Today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
I have also been joined by Oyebode Fadipe, Head Corporate Communications, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC. He joins us via Zoom. Good to have you join us.
Thank you very much. I also must appreciate the presence of Mr. Jide Ojo. I've listened to him a couple of times concerning the analysis of the public issue. So it's wonderful to be with him, and I feel honored to be on this program. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Let's cut to the chase. And I'm staying with you, Oyebode. Quite a lot of figures making the rounds as a new electricity tariff. Give us a sense, what is the increase exactly in terms of figures and percentage increase?
If you look at, for instance, those who are in the first instance, there are 5 bands. You have the band A, which is those who are 20 hours and above. You have the band B, which is those who are 16 hours and above, but not up to 20 hours. And then you have the band C, which are those who are 12 hours and above, but not up to 16 hours. And then you have band D and E, which is below 12 hours. Now, if you look at the people in the band A, for instance, and you are looking at those who are of the non-MD category, which is right now 49 naira 75 kobo, the adjustment there, because the old tariff was 24 naira 30 kobo. So you will see that the adjustment there is, of course, above 50%, or I mean, quite in terms of percentage, you want to say that is high in terms of percentage. So, and you have it going down like that to other classes of customers.
The disparity is something to talk about, but for now, let me ask again, how would you justify the increased tariff at this time, given the challenge of COVID-19?
Well, thank you. I've had to answer this question now and again. And the fact is that the power sector that is currently under view operates within the economy that is also affected by COVID-19. Just this afternoon, I received a notice that pump price has moved from, I think, 148 to about 151. And I think Ipman is even saying that it should be sold at 161. Now, this power sector is going to operate within that economy. That's number one. The second point we need to take note of is some of the components that are used in this power sector is also denominated in dollar. In the secondary market, which is where most of the operators get their forex from, the cost of dollar to the naira is almost 500 naira. It's still in this economy. The Nigerian power sector does not operate from a different economy. It operates within the Nigerian environment. We will have to fuel our vehicles. The generating companies have to have to buy gas. Gas is also denominated in dollars. Yet that is the same gas that we are supposed to be having in this country. So the point I'm trying to make is that when we say why the increase now against the background of COVID-19, the question is, has COVID-19 not affected the power sector? Is the power sector operating in isolation of the total micro and macroeconomic environment? The answer is no. Whatever is happening in the micro and macroeconomic environment is affecting the power sector itself. And I've just mentioned one point, which is the issue of dollar. The generators buy their gas in dollars. And without the generating companies, there is no way we want to function. There is no way. Some of the transformers that we use in this country, we import them. For instance, power transformers, we import them largely into this country. We are not going to buy them in Naira. They are going to be bought in dollars. So all of these things come together to affect the cost of production of the energy itself that is eventually getting to the customers. Number three, or additionally, is the fact that the discos don't own all the money that they collect. We get a percentage of that amount, and the balance of the money is shared amongst all the other members of the sector. The transmission is there, the generation is there. You have several cousins and nephews and uncles and aunties who surround the players in the power sector so that the power sector can function effectively. So the issue of time is what I would want to plead that we look at very critically. It is a time that is affecting everybody. So we are all part of this.
Critically is what we do, but in the meantime, if I go with your argument that because, for instance, petroleum energy is affected, well, power has to be affected, then imagine if all Nigerians who have to take both the energy, the electricity, and all of those without being able to draw extra from anywhere, then perhaps we should call it a day. But meanwhile, let me get back to Jide Ojo here in the studio and ask just that you describe your experience as an electricity consumer.
Thank you very much. My experience has been that of what many Nigerians do experience, and it's a potpourri of issues, the good, the bad, and the ugly. I really do. It's a pleasure to be on the same set with Mr. Oyebode. The power sector development has been something I've followed over the years. And much as we want to blame the discos, that means the distribution companies, for hike in power, we must also situate that against the background that there are laws and policies guiding electricity, power sector reform generally. And like he has rightly pointed out, there is the generating companies. There are generating companies, there is the transmission company of Nigeria, which is still held on to by the federal government, and then the distribution companies. And they have to also buy the energy from another institution. So they are in sector to make profit. It's not a charity that they are running, and as such, you want to empathize with them that given the scenario he has painted, the hike may be justified. But that's where it ends. For me, I think they need to do more. Yes, multi-year tariff order that came into effect many years ago, government was subsidizing. And why we are having this hike right now is because government has withdrawn the subsidy that it has always put in place with billions of naira to make sure that Nigerians are able to get affordable electricity. But you know, the real challenge for me is the fact that over the years where this multi-year order tariff has been reduced, government has been withdrawing steadily from subsidizing this electricity. So it's been in gradual phases. But right now, the government is saying, look, let market forces determine the price. But along the chain, I know Mr. Ibode will put forward the argument of energy theft. People are not paying electricity bill and all of that. But that's one side of the story. The other side of the story is
estimated billing.
Estimated billing. It's a very serious issue. That's why I was coming to. Because while you may say, yes, there is
electricity theft. There's another theft on this side too.
Making illegal connection and all of that. But there is also the issue of estimated. And my last write-up on this issue, domiciled on the issue of why are Nigerians not metered? For over how many decades now since we've been under this power sector reform, we have moved from the Electricity Corporation of ECN to NEPA to PACN, now to all the calibration and all of that. We are still, even, I mean, my house in Ibadan, I just succeeded in getting meter for it last month. This is something we have had a tug of war for over 5 years. We paid for the analog meter, we never got. We then waited for the current prepaid. Now, when we started the journey for prepaid, we were given a figure that when the meter is ready, we will be asked to go and pay. By the time we were waiting to pay, they hike the fare for the meter, and we have to pay close to 100,000 for a single phase meter. Now, when this issue of metering started, it was supposed to be given to Nigerians free, and that you are supposed to be given free, then that's to make sure that they phase out the estimated billing. But over the years, they have moved from free meter to paying for the meter and using the payment to consume electricity. Now they are under MAP. And now everybody has got to go buy their meters. But even at that, the key challenge also is the fact that we are still having more of darkness than light. With all the power sector reform, why would people be allowed to pay more for darkness? We should be paying. Yes, they will say that, okay, it's 12 hours. If you enjoy 12 hours of electricity, now you pay that 70% increase. That's what NEC is said that they can charge. But even, how do you even compute the 12 hours? Because these things are very, it won't be steady. So you may not even know the calculation. They may just give you a random of up to 7-8 hours and say that you are enjoying 12 hours because it's their word against ours as consumer. So the consumers have not really been protected under this. I know the argument, the government is owing, government institutions are owing billions of naira. There is issue of funding the sector and all of that. But in terms of consumer satisfaction, many of us consumers are not satisfied with what we are experiencing in the power.
We'll get back certainly to the issue of prepaid and metering and all of that. But in the meantime, we'll pause for a break and get the input of everyday Nigerians. Nigeria Today returns afterwards. Please stay with us.
Is there any improvement of light before the increased tariff? There must be improvement or there must be changes before they're supposed to increase the tariff. But now that we say almost to some weeks, there's no light, 12 hours, sometimes 8 hours, you will not see light. And all of a sudden we see NEPA increase tariff.
With the look of things, almost 50% increment, that is too much. It's on the high side. And we're just coming out of, in fact, we are suffering from COVID-19 meltdown, and the thing is on the high side. The man on the street is the one feeling the heat now.
There are a lot of people that only have prepaid meter. They give them estimated bill, which was already on high side. So before you talk about increment in tariff, you should talk about metering every Nigerians. Let every Nigerian's household have meter, prepaid meter, so that they guys have their prepaid meter, so that they can have control over their electricity, over their light.
This coffee, let it go. Then by the time they now see that people are having rest of mind, then they can now inflate. The price is just too much. When I saw in the paper this morning, I wasn't happy.
The problem is that we are not even having lights. And when we have lights, it's like they give us light for 3 hours. They will take it for 9 hours before they bring it again.
it's untimely and uncalled for at this time. We are just about recovering from COVID-19. And you could agree with me that the level of income of so many persons is dwindled.
Not everyone can afford this thing. Even the one that we're paying, some people are in the Nepal area, they don't see net light, but see they still charge, they pay what they didn't use. Now they're increasing it. Our government should rethink.
A lot of persons don't have prepaid meters. So how would you do that? So they should supply prepaid meters to people and make sure that the services is upgraded, is sufficient, is effective and efficient.
All right, welcome back, and if you've just tuned in, you're right on time. We've been discussing the new electricity tariff with Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst, and Oyebode Fadipe of the AEDC. Now, let me go back to Oyebode, who's joined us via Zoom. I'm sure you've heard you saw the Vox Pop a while ago there. The complaints are legion. How do you respond to this?
The complaints for me are in two categories: those who think that those who are calling for metering of customers, those who are talking about availability, those who are talking about timing against the background of COVID-19. And I think those are the major issues. Now, let me take the issue of metering first of all, and I'm indeed happy that Mr. Jide Ojo did raise that issue of estimated billing. Now, estimated billing by all standard is not the best tool for measurement of consumption. One, it is open to controversy because of the fact that it's possible to have errors in what you estimate a man to be consuming. Apart from that, it's also possible that you are overestimating demand, or you are under providing for the consumption of demand. In other words, the customer may be consuming more than you have estimated. Take, for instance, the current capping on estimated billing. In locations like Asokoro, for instance, what we have been giving as the maximum you can bill a customer in Asokoro is 616 kilowatt hour per month. Now, if the customer is consuming more than that, given the geography of his residence, it means that the disco or the service provider is losing the balance over that one. It's also possible that in other locations, maybe let's take Jikoi, for instance, the customer has been given 101 units as consumption for a month, and you cannot bill him. You cannot bill him more than that. Maybe the customer is not even consuming as much as that 101 units. So that is one major challenge with estimated billing. But the truth of the matter is that the energy that the discos are selling does not belong to them. It doesn't belong to them. It belongs to the entire value chain. If anything, generating companies should say, this is our product. I feel very, very sad, and I'm saying this on national television, that metering has become such a topical issue. I know clearly that for those of us who are in Abuja, we have made a lot of efforts. If we look at the history of metering, for instance, Nigerians will remember that even before privatization, meter was a major issue. And because of that, government in its wisdom brought about the issue of CAPME. CAPME was some few months into operation when privatization took over, and then the new owners also experimented on it, and the then Minister of Power said, no, we need to stop and allow the discos to take over. Discos took over, and for us in AEDC, we made a lot of investment in metering. But again, that investment was not strong enough because the discos already have the challenge of liquidity. So it's a question of how much do you have for metering, how much do you have for transformers, how much do you have for cables, how much do you have for conductors, how much do you have for other facilities that you use in conveying electricity to customers, pay salaries, buy vehicles, buy fuel, do several other things. How much do you have? So that one affected me until government now said, okay, let us totally divest the discourse.
Even distribution has been an issue. There's been talk of, you know, we have this XYZ amount of power and we are not able to distribute and all of that. Is that also part of it?
No, I didn't get that question. That we are not
distribution. I'm talking about distribution.
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about distribution. Some say that, well, you can't even distribute what is available. And so where do we go from here?
Now, you see, the issue of not being able to distribute what is available is again another controversy that is there. In AEDC, for instance, our national allocation, our MITO allocation is 11.5% of whatever is generated at any point in time. However, we have consistently taken up to 13% so that we can also wield this power to our customers who are within our franchise area. So when you say you have the energy to distribute and it's not being distributed, there are so many factors that will be involved in it. We will recall that I think in 2019 alone, there were at least about 11 system collapse. All the members of the value chain will have their contribution to this fact of system collapse. But the fact remains that as much as it is provided, the energy is also willed to customers. I do agree that there are challenges.
Mr. we don't have all the time. And so I'll need you to quickly summarize your point so that I can get back to Judy Ojo and also get something from the side of the consumer.
Now, the point I'm trying to make is that there are challenges and there are moves to address those challenges. Part of the move to address the challenge that is on ground is the issue of the review of the tariff. The Siemens project is also there. And I'm aware that transmission is also doing so much. For instance, in Nasarawa, transmission is doing a 330-132 project that will also benefit the entire state and even affect Federal Capital Territory. And at least I know that of Abuja configuration very well. So it's not as if
let me quickly give Judy Ojo an opportunity to respond to some of the points you have raised. And I'll simply come by asking him, at what point have we had it better from the era of NEPA to PHCN and now, you know, where we are? Has it ever been better?
Well, it has never been. We are still grappling with the challenges. And I'm very happy that Mr. Oyebode was very sincere in admitting that there are still very serious challenges, particularly with metering. He didn't land on that thought on metering. I think he was talking about maybe government has divested discourse of the metering issue. I've raised this question. Why can't Nigerians go buy their meter of their own and ask a installer to come and install? The same way you buy decoders, you know, and get somebody to come and then they connect you to the service provider in the telecommunication. So why is it that somebody you have to? I waited like Godot to get a meter. The house has been there since 2010. We couldn't get prepaid meter until this year. And that is a shame of a nation, even after having to pay so much. Because the bulk, the critical issue, as he has rightly admitted, estimated billing is a fraud. It's a fraud. In those days, you used to have you used to have people who will come and read meters. They call them meter readers. Yes. They no longer read meters. They just come and say this house is 2-bedroom. They must be consuming this much. So we need to tackle it from that point. We need to also tackle the issue of. I hope that if this new tariff stays, that there will be significant improvement, that there will be value for money, because what he was trying to, the scenario was trying to push that, okay, because they've increased fuel price, and then
and I'm asking, what should the ordinary Nigerian do? But let me get back to Mr. Oyebode quickly. In 30 seconds, Mr. Oyebode, just in, I'm told I have only 15 seconds. Please, your closing remarks. Your closing remarks.
Now, I disagree totally that estimated billing is a fraud. With due respect, I disagree totally. I disagree. I don't agree. Now, the issue of Can't somebody go outside there and pick his own meter? No telecommunication allows a subscriber to go and produce his own SIM card. No telecom. The SIM card is to the telecommunication. What meter is to the power sector.
All right.
So, let us be able to draw that line.
Head Corporate Communications, Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Thank you very much for your insights. I wish we would have more time. And back here, Judy Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst. It's been a pleasure, as always, having you here. Thank you for your perspectives.
Thank you very much.
Now, Nigeria Today returns same time tomorrow, and you can watch this and other editions of the program on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. My name is Victor Azu. Thank you for watching.